All right, let me explain to you guys real quick why it's outside. I already did videos on inertia, right? So outside of inertia, there's also something else that accounts for why, generally speaking, very generally speaking, most of us are inclined to do nothing. Most humans are inclined to do nothing, most of us. And generally, again, very broadly speaking, we're all inherently wired to be lazy. Yeah, yeah. We are all inherently wired to be lazy. That's why you need calories. Calories are units of energy that the body uses to function. Calories are not bad. People always associate calories with fat. It's not. It's not the same thing. Calories are just simply measurements or units of energy that your body needs to operate and to function. Now, here's why calories are important. Stay with me here. You have what's called your resting heart rate, right? We all are familiar with that. And you have what's called your resting metabolic rate. We're also familiar with that. But a lot of us are not familiar with, and to no knock on anyone, this is not like public everyday knowledge. I mean, it is public, you can research it, but it's not something that's in our face every day. There's also something called your resting membrane potential. I'm going to say it slowly. Resting membrane potential. Your resting potential, or simply resting potential, is the state of the neurons within the brain. The neuron that formulates the synaptic network of your brain, which is responsible for your thoughts and everything, pretty much. Your resting state of the neuron, which is called the resting membrane potential. The resting potential, the resting state of the neuron is, generally speaking, negative. What does that mean? That means at rest, without any kind of activity, the neurons in our brains sustains and retains a negative charge. Now, is that bad in and of itself? No, because every battery has a negative. It's called cathodes. Every battery has cathodes, anions and cations, which is simply, those are jargons for positive and negative. And without the negative, you wouldn't have the flow to create what is the energy that is electricity. So you need the negative charge. But here's the problem with that. Our neurons, because their resting state is negative, and again, negative is not necessarily bad, but remember, if you have a charge that is just negative, and there's no movement, there's no circuitry, then you have what's called static energy, or electrostatic. That simply means energy that's not in motion. That's not, it is in motion. It is in motion because nothing is ever really still. Everything vibrates, but it's not constructively being utilized, right? So every human being, because our resting neurological state is negative, we're going to be naturally negatively charged, more so at our resting state. And this has to do with the sodium, potassium, and sodium ions and potassium ions. You could study this stuff on the periodic table and really find out what that is about. But this accounts for why a lot of us find it hard to this is what, I wouldn't say find it hard, but this is why without effort, human beings will naturally do nothing. Right? That's why we have to make it up in our minds to be successful. We have to have a resolved, settled determination that we're going to do things. This is why it takes conscious, diligent, deliberate effort, intentional effort and purpose to get things done. Because without the impetus of conscious thinking, we're all wired to be in that state of negative energy. And negative energy, again, it's static if it doesn't flow. If there's no flow, no circuitry, it creates called static energy. And static, if you're on the phone and you get static energy, you get, it's disturbance. It's there's no flow. You can't hear the other person communicate. So that right there is just a little biochemistry I want to share with you guys. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if y'all gonna get that. I don't even know if that makes sense. Well, whatever. But hey, listen, you know me. I'm always dropping some gems on y'all. All right. Till next time. Peace.